dear friend of mine is Jimmy Iovine. And I hate to call him a dear friend because I think that sounds kind of arrogant because, he's one of the truly most successful people in Hollywood. So it's not like, Jimmy Iovine walks around all day saying, wonder how my buddy Paul Heyman's doing.
Right.
But he's been almost a mentor in some ways. I'm honored to have known him. And in ECW's dying day, when we needed just a little more financing to make it a couple of weeks, just to see if we could make it on a couple of different deals, he gave us a little bit of money. He bought in, even though he knew it was a bad investment.
Right.
So to me, that makes him a dear friend. Anyway, Jimmy is the chairman of Universal Music, Geffen, A&M, and Interscope, which is an interesting situation because Interscope was like ECW. It was a small, independent business that changed the scope of the industry. So he starts up Interscope. He sells it to a big corporation for, let's say it's $1 million. They don't know what to do with it. He buys it back for $100,000. Then he sells it to another big record label for $2 million. He buys it back because they don't know what to do with it for $100,000. He bought and sold his own label 4 or 5 times, making millions along the way. And finally, he merges his independent label with the biggest label in the world, Universal Music. Jimmy Iovine is 70 years old. And since the day I've met Jimmy Iovine, the one constant in his approach is, I don't market the music that I like. I don't sell to myself. I sell to the kids that have money in their pocket that are going to buy the stuff I put out. I am deathly afraid of being the old guy that talks about the 8-track cassette or the fax machine or the mimeograph.
Right.
In my day, because it's not my day. I don't have to like where the world progresses. I have to keep up with it because it's going to go forward without me. And I don't want to be that guy. I don't mind being the old guy in the locker room as long as I'm still the guy that has the radical ideas that can possibly change the industry. The only difference is now I'm far more diplomatic in my approach in pitching it. But I still want to be the guy that stays one step ahead of the curve and not the guy that's trying to catch up. So I hang around and I listen to as many young, bright people and aggressive and assertive and progressive thinking people as I can, so that when they come, they go, hey, man, have you tried this thing called YouTube? No, man, what's YouTube? Oh, yeah, you load up your own videos, and a lot of people are pirating content on there and just throwing stuff up. I watched Johnny Carson from the 70s and the 80s the other day. And I'm going into meetings going, hey, Vince, you know where this YouTube thing? Goddamn, pal, what's YouTube? This is 2005. And I'm saying, you know what? This is the next big thing. So when someone comes up to me and he says, hey, I'm sending a text message out to the world. It's called Twitter. And the very first thing I'm doing is going home to my kids going, hey, any of your classmates in kindergarten or first grade talking about Twitter? And as soon as I find out that the kids are talking about it, I want to know as much about it as I can. I want to learn who's behind it. I want to learn the technology and the vocabulary and the vernacular behind it. So I want to be ahead of everybody else, because otherwise I'm the old guy that fell behind.
Right. Don't want to fall behind. Speaking of Jimmy Iovine,
Yes.
you mentioned he chipped in a little bit of money to ECW back in the day. I always wondered, Paul, as long as I've known you and a very good friend, how and why the wheels fell off of ECW. Because from my standpoint, and you know me, dude, I'm pretty damn good in 20 by 20, pretty good on a horn. But, as far as the inner workings of how you run a business or all that wrestling stuff, the promotion stuff, don't know where to shit or wind my watch. How and why did the wheels fall off? Because from my standpoint, look at the merch, look at the T-shirts, look at the energy of the program. I thought you guys were printing money.
The highest grossing year ECW ever had was the last full year that we were in business, 2000. We drew back-to-back sellouts at the Hammerstein Ballroom, grossing well over $100,000 a night. We sold 6,800 tickets in Los Angeles. We were regularly selling out in Detroit, 4,000 tickets. Regularly selling out in Chicago, 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 tickets. Sold out in, I can't pronounce the name of the town, Mississauga.
Yeah.
It's right outside of Toronto.
Yeah.
Sold out. They would regularly sell out the Burt Flickinger Center in Buffalo, which was 4,000 seats. The highest grossing year we ever had was 2000.